Hi everyone, I'm just going to check to make sure that we're live streaming. I'm just going to check the group to make sure I'm live streaming. Hello everyone, it's Athena Ali here, the Get Noticed coach. I'm just preparing the live stream. So I'm just, yep, beautiful, we're on. I just thought I'd have my phone here in case because I can't use the computer screen at the same time to check. Otherwise, it'll kind of ruin what I'm doing. I hope everyone's really well. Welcome to my free training on how to land a $100,000 plus role in the public service. Now, this training came about because after my last final masterclass, there was some interest around, how to prepare for next year. And, look at people looking for training and for coaching around, the new year, a new role in the new year. So I thought it'd be great to do a little bit of a training around how to land that elusive, 100K senior role in the public service. Okay, so welcome is the first thing. At this stage, I can't see if anyone's there because I've got two different screens. But if you are there and you do have any questions, I will check in on the comments on Facebook. So hopefully you can see me. I did have some requests to stream this in my other group, which is how to write key selection criteria for public service roles or government roles, I think I've got it as. So hopefully the people in that group can see me live as well. Welcome to everybody, wherever you're coming from. Now, you're probably here because you've been struggling, struggling with landing a public service role that's in the upper levels. So we're talking roles that are usually over 100,000. So senior public service roles, they might be EL1, EL2 roles. They might be, your band 7 if you're in local government, or senior roles like management, team leader roles, maybe even director roles and above. Okay. And perhaps you've been applying, you're hearing crickets. So you're not getting any response back. You don't know what you're doing wrong. Perhaps you're not getting any feedback, or perhaps you are getting feedback that someone, they chose some people that in terms of interview, they're shortlisted people who met the criteria better than you did, or you've been passed over because somebody else had more experience than you. So you start hearing all these excuses, all right? Or perhaps you are getting to interview, because sometimes people get to interview, but for some reason they can never get over the line. So they think it's perhaps the interviewing process for them. So you might be at different, if you're here, you'll be at different stages. Everybody struggles with different things in terms of the job application process, all right, or the job seeking process. And it might be that you're here as well because maybe you don't like your current role. Maybe you love your current role, but you're not appreciated. You're not being paid what you're worth. You're the person that does everything, because I know I was that type of person. I was always the person that did everything. And if I wasn't valued, appreciated, or rewarded, whether that was with money or with other benefits like professional development or time off or something like that, I'd get really, I'd resent it. And then instead of hating the job, I'd hate the organization or my manager, and I'd be, I wouldn't want to try as hard, and I'd get disgruntled and want to leave. So you might be in that position where you're the person that does everything and you love what you do, but you're starting to resent it because you're not being valued for what you do. You're not being recognized or noticed, and you can go to that next level role, okay? And you feel maybe even that the people that are getting to those next level roles, or those people who are actually able to leave the organization and go to something else, are getting better roles than you. And you're kind of looking at them going, well, why can't I do that? How can I do that? Yeah. So our goal here today will be to look at sort of where you are now, which is what we've sort of been discussing now, where you would like to be, what kind of role would you, like to be in. You obviously want to earn a six-figure role or 100K plus, and look at how you can get there. You know, what is it that I can do, or what can I provide you with that can, whether that's in terms of information or programs that I offer, that can help you actually get there instead of struggling and being overwhelmed with trying to, you know, get into that process. Okay. So that's what I'm going to look at with you today. And it may be that you're looking for somebody to help you with that process, perhaps hold your hand through it, because often we might have some of the answers, but we really need the accountability, and we need someone to help us, you know, and reassure us that what we're doing is the right thing. Because I know that, you know, I mean, I hire coaches for myself, because even though sometimes, you know, I've done a business management, you know, diploma, yet I still feel I need that hand holding and help and that accountability to actually make sure that I take the action to move myself forward. And you might be in that position as well. Okay, now this training is for you if you're a mid-career professional or a leader or aspiring leader who is either trying to break into the public service, or you are in the public service and you've been applying for jobs and you're hearing nothing, or you are applying and you're getting excuses like you haven't got enough experience, or the other person had this or that over you. Okay. And you don't understand why seemingly more inexperienced people are just passing you by, okay? And you're not sure what to do in the whole job application process to fix what's happening for you. Or it could be that you don't know why your manager or organization can't see your value, and why you're always doing the work and never getting ahead, okay? And in most cases, you don't know how to articulate your brilliance. You don't know how to market yourself to that level and away from being the person that does all the work to the person that oversees the work, okay? Now, in this training, what we will cover and what I said you will discover in the training is what to write in your resume, cover letter, or key selection criteria so that hiring managers actually pick up the phone and ask you in for an interview, okay? We'll also look at why telling hiring managers and recruiters what you do only and focusing on your experience only is actually a huge mistake, and how you can be more valuable to them by taking the you out of that equation. The next thing is that we'll look at is the secret that actually makes hiring managers and recruiters headhunt you so that you can negotiate a remuneration package that actually benefits you and them, okay? And yes, you can actually negotiate a remuneration package in the public service, particularly when you're going for a senior role, okay? And that might look like money, that might look like time off, that might look like professional development, or all sorts of other things too. Okay, now we'll also look at how you can actually seal a deal by making a really grand impression at the interview and really reminding them why you really are the best choice for that six-figure role, okay? So that's what we're going to look at tonight, okay? If anyone's got any questions, please pop them in the Facebook group. I'm happy to answer them. And if you're watching the replay, by the way, the replay will be available until Saturday night, midnight. So if you have any questions or anything like that, or you want to watch a replay, it will be sitting in the group until Saturday night, okay? Now, in this training, I'm going to basically help you or show you how to be really confident, get noticed, and stand out in a professional, professional and unique way, okay, so that you can land that $100,000 plus role, because it might be a multi-figure role that you're looking at, not just a $100,000 role. Now, about me, I might introduce myself, because although you're all here, some of you are new, and you might want to know a bit about me and my background. Why am I the expert at what I do? And I guess, well, I worked in government for over 13 years, both in state and local government. In my time in those sectors, I landed every role I applied for. I did it the first time. I was also external to the organisation, so I actually was never an internal applicant, and I was still able to break through and land those roles that I landed. So I landed every permanent opportunity the first time I applied. And what I noticed is that all the high-level people I worked with in government did all the things that me and my clients do consistently that land us the jobs that we want in the public sector. Okay. Plus I have some other bits and pieces in terms of qualifications that I might mention later when I get to some other stuff at the end. So what I'm going to show you and talk to you about is, as I said, what we did, me and my clients have done in each of these scenarios that made us different, what we had other than skills and experience to land the role, because it's not just your skills and experience, and also how do we do it? Even though we'd never sort of landed that next level role, we were able to get to that next level with ease. Okay. Now, in terms of, my story, as I said, I was able to land roles really easily. And even when, I went for promotions, I'd get them within 6 months to a year of being somewhere. I never had to wait long to get a promotion. And what I found was that there was a pattern that happened every time I landed a role, some consistent things that worked every single time. And when I didn't do these things, or when my clients don't do these things, they're usually the reasons why we didn't land, those roles, if that was the case. Now, in your case, you think you've got the experience, you may have been in an organisation for a long time. You might have been there for 5 to 10 years. And you're the one that they come to ask questions. You're the one that does everything in the office, and you're meant for more. You work really hard. Maybe you're doing overtime even, but you feel like you're being, unappreciated, undervalued, and I guess when you apply for roles, you really don't know which part of that process is letting you down. Like, is it the resume? Is it, what is it? Is it your interview performance? Is it because you don't get along with your boss? So trying to work that out is where you're at now. Okay. Now, I understand you want to up level to that next level role, and you don't want to be stuck in a job you hate or end up resenting it, even though it's a job you love. But you don't know how to stand out. You don't know how to be different. You don't know how to be the person that has enough experience to land the role. Now, it's not your fault. Generally speaking, it's, applying for jobs is a life skill. Even writing your resume is a life skill. Okay. It can be taught. Okay. But no one teaches it to you. Even if you go to careers counselors at uni or high school or whatever, as we grow up, we get taught to, put our skills and experience in a document, and that's our resume. But the problem is they don't actually tell us how to be different. Okay. And the problem is when you are doing that and you're only doing that, you just come across the same as everybody else. So you need someone to teach you, how to be different. And it doesn't help when you start hearing myths like this, like, your time will come, you have to wait years to get a promotion, or you have to wait years to be at that level. I know one of my clients recently, she had a limiting belief around, well, I'm only in my 30s or early 30s. Most of the people I work with are older than me. I really shouldn't be in a management position. That was the limiting belief she had. Now, the problem with that was stopping her from getting her next level role, and she was absolutely more than capable. But because she believed that because she wasn't old enough, that she shouldn't or couldn't apply for a role of that amount of money, and you absolutely can. Okay. So that's myth number one. You don't have to wait forever to get a promotion. I know all my promotions, or when I left and got my next level role, I did that. If I wasn't happy after my 1 year performance review, I would leave. I wouldn't wait 5 years. And I got my pay rise by leaving and finding a job with more money. Okay, so you can do it. You absolutely can do it. Okay. Now, the second myth is that your resume and your key selection criteria or your cover letter will land your dream role. They don't. They only land you an interview. You need the whole process to be consistent and work for you so that you land the job. Your resume's own or your key selection criteria is really only one part of that process. Okay, so that's a myth. Okay, and the third myth is that you need to know someone to get into the public service. Now, whilst that is really true in a lot of ways, and you're all going to jump on me now and say, Athena, that's what you're saying is not true. You do need to know someone to get in. Whilst that is absolutely a benefit, and it is, it's not the only way to get a promotion, and it's not the only way to get your next level job. All of my jobs, when I first broke into the public service, I knew no one. I didn't know anyone in the public service. And most of my clients don't know anyone in the public service, and they don't suck up to anyone in the public service either to land their roles. They really do get it on their merits. And I'm really big on fairness and honesty as a value. So for me, it's super important to actually get the job on merit. So whilst, now I know a lot of people in the public service, and I could perhaps use that to my advantage, it's really not the only way to land a job in the public service. And that's something I teach my clients, is to be able to do that authentically without feeling like you're sucking up to somebody in order to get your next role. Okay. Now, why is the way I do things easier or faster or more powerful? Well, I do things differently. Okay. I really do. I find that my approach, because I work one-on-one with people specifically, directly impacts your confidence. I can teach you everything in an online course. And I've tried to do that, and I have done that with some of my clients. But what I find is that doing it yourself is sometimes you don't do it yourself. You procrastinate and you don't actually move along, and you're not accountable for your actions. When you have a coach by your side and you invest in something and you actually have skin in the game, you actually work towards the goal, and you really need to invest in that. If you don't invest time and money into it, there's no incentive for you to do it. Okay, so I find that working one-on-one with people, whether it's to write their documents or do coaching with them, I find it will give you much more confidence to get to where you go. Now I'm going to show you, I'll show you a little slide. I will show you my slide on, I'll show you the next one. This is what I want to show you. Now, this is what happens with your confidence level after every job application rejection. Okay. Now, what happens is, your first interview, you're on a high, you're doing really, really well in the interview, or you think you're doing really, really well in the interview. And so, you're at level 10 in terms of your confidence. Okay. But what happens is you don't get the job. Okay. You don't get the job. You get told someone else has got more experience, and you go, okay, I didn't get the job. Okay, maybe it was this or that I said. So you start thinking about what you think the problem is. Then you go to your second interview, okay, and you don't get that either. And you think, well, maybe it's because they don't like me. Maybe it's because of this. You start imagining all this stuff that you actually don't know is true about the interview. And your confidence, as you go through each interview, gets lower and lower and lower, to the point where you don't actually believe you can land the role at all. And you go in with lots of limiting beliefs and negativity around the role, okay, that you're applying for. And this is why it's important to have a coach even early on if you can, because what happens is your confidence levels stay higher. When you start troubleshooting, what possibly went wrong after the job that you've applied for, you will troubleshoot that and you will work on that, and you're more likely to keep your confidence levels up and be able to land that role. It's super important to be confident about what you offer, because if you're not confident and certain you can provide the outcome that the employer wants, they're not going to choose you for the role. Okay. And what happens is your confidence and your certainty about yourself wanes every time you get rejected or you don't land a role. Okay. And this is where you really need help to be propped back up to that 10 level. Okay. Now, imagine, if you could, stop sending out so many, job applications and, write, apply and actually land the role the first time rather than applying for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 roles. Okay. What if you could actually do it within the first couple of shots you take? I know my clients have done that in a few shots. So the investment has paid for itself. Okay. Imagine if you were approached by headhunters or recruiters and asked to apply for roles. Hey, we think you'd be a great fit for this. Can you apply? So much better than trying to find a way in through hundreds of applicants. Imagine if you could get a 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 pay rise by leaving where you are and landing a role over $100,000. Imagine what that'd do for your life and also for your career. Okay. And imagine finding a job that you love and waking up on a Monday morning, happy to serve the clients that you serve and feeling valued and appreciated by your employer. Yeah. Now I want to show you, some of my clients and what they've experienced. And Laura is one of those people. She's actually a very recent client of mine. And I don't know if that's sharing. It's probably not sharing. Hang on, I'm not sharing screen. Let me share the screen first, otherwise you'll see nothing. There's Laura. Okay. From current slide. Sorry, guys, I'm not very good with the technology, am I? Now, Laura is a current client or recent client of mine, like in the last couple of months. She came to me and she's the one I was telling you about before, where she's, younger, and she was worried that going for a higher level role, maybe she was going up too far, or she was older than the people she was managing. And I was like, what difference does it make if the outcomes you provide are exactly what that employer is actually looking for? Okay. So I wrote her documents. I wrote her resume, her cover letter. We did a bit of coaching and the consultation around her resume and cover letter. And within, I don't even think it was 2 weeks, she landed a HR business partner role from an office manager type role, which did incorporate a bit of human resources. And she landed a role that was over 100K, landing, a $10,000 or $20,000 pay rise by leaving where she was and actually getting, the support she needed. So she got her investment back within, 1.5, 2 weeks with me. Okay. That is what coaching, encouragement, and motivation and accountability will get you. Okay. It will get you good documents. It will get you the confidence to actually apply for the roles you want to apply for and actually get them. Okay. Now, the next person I want to show you is Wendy. Wendy, lovely lady. She was applying for director roles in the state government public service originally, and she eventually ended up getting a director role in the Australian public service. So that was that would have been a much bigger pay rise than from state government, because going up a tier usually means the pay is a lot better as well, and better terms and conditions as well. And she's absolutely brilliant at what she does. She's actually a lawyer, and she ended up with a really great 6-figure role and a great career move for her. Then we've got Angel. Angel, I did my 8-week program with, and we did a lot of career guidance coaching with Angel because she was going through a crossroads in her career, and she was at a point where she just wanted to get out of where she was. She had a really toxic boss. She absolutely hated where she was. She was the person that did everything in the office and never got appreciated or valued. She couldn't get flexibility. It was a nightmare for her. So she came to me and we did a lot of coaching around the types of roles she wanted. We wrote her her documents for her. And within about a 6-month period, because she really wanted to wait and find the perfect role, she didn't want to rush. She had a job, so she was happy to put up with her situation until she found the perfect role, and she did. And not only did she find a role, she found an office management position that suited her skills really, really well. Okay. So now I want to talk to you about how you can achieve the same results as these 3 people have, okay? And what made them different to everyone else in that pile when they were shortlisted so that they got invited for an interview and subsequently landed the role. As I said in this training, that you would discover 4 things. So I'll go through those 4 things now. And the first one was, what do you write in your resume, cover letter, and key selection criteria so that hiring managers actually pick up the phone and ask you in for an interview, okay? Now, firstly, a lot of people fuss around with the format of their resume, which is nice if you know the type of template that works. I always go with really simple. Okay. And to be honest, when people work with me, they never ask me about the template, because what's more important than the template is actually the words that go in it. Okay. Because if the words don't convert that person to ask you in for an interview, there is really no point in that fancy text box filled document. Okay. What you have to understand is there's a method to the way we write and position things on the document. Okay. Now I follow what's called an F pattern. Okay. And this talks about the F pattern is some science around how people read things on a screen or how people read. Okay. And it follows an F pattern, which is the letter F. Okay. So that top part of your F, the long top part of the F, is the first thing people will actually read. So the headline. So your keywords, your headline and your keywords need to be in that top part of the F, and they need to match the criteria of the role in some way, shape or form. Then as you go down the F on the side, that's to the left. Okay, so your bullet points on the left really need to be punchy. So when you're writing your achievements, they really need to have really powerful words starting those sentences so that people will continue to read. So using power verbs or success verbs or action verbs is all the different ways that we describe them. Things like words like transformed or collaborated or cultivated or increased or decreased. When you start sentences with words like that, they actually tell you a lot, and they actually tell you about the outcome you actually provide me. Okay, so when you start a sentence with that word, I want to read. Okay, and then as you go down the F, the middle part of the F, the centerpiece, well, that's why we sort of talk about, recruiters take about 2 seconds, or not 2 seconds, 6 seconds. I don't know why I said 2, 6 seconds to read the resume, because it's that F pattern that their eyes actually follow across the page. And it's really important not to fill it with text boxes and all sorts of things, because what happens to me as a reader is, although that might all be important information, it starts to confuse me and I don't want to read anymore, because you're making it hard for me. You want to make it hard. You want to make it easy for the person reading it. And if you're making it hard for them, they tend to dismiss even the good stuff and they will toss it to the side. Okay. So we want to make an impact straight away. Choose simple templates. It doesn't have to be fancy. Okay. As long as it's neat, easy to read, and everything's positioned where it needs to be, and all your important stuff is on that front page, particularly the first half of that page, to follow that F pattern, then you are going to, you're going to have a foot in the door. Okay. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk to you about in this training was why hiring managers and recruiters, or why telling them what you do and focusing on your experience only is a huge mistake, and how to be more valuable to them by taking the you out of the equation. Now, the problem I see most people make, and every single document I receive generally follows this pattern, and that is, you just tell us what you do in your current job or in your previous job. Okay, you just tell me what the duties are of that job. Some of you even copy and paste what's in the job description and put it in. No, that doesn't make you different from other people. That makes you the same as everybody else, because we can all perform the same or similar duties. But what makes you different is how you tailor and how you tell them the outcomes you can provide them with based on your previous experience. And this is why we say you need to concentrate and focus on achievements. Okay, because when you focus on achievements, what happens is that you're telling me something that you did. You show me how you can help me with what I need right now. Okay. And if you show me that you've done that before somewhere else, and you can articulate that in your resume, your cover letter, or your key selection criteria, then I'm going to think to myself, that's somebody that's the kind of person we need right now. That's what I want someone to do for me right now in this role I'm hiring for. Okay. But when you tell me you have certain experience only, or when you tell me that these are your duties, well, anyone performing that role will be performing the same duties. But what's different is how you tackled something, how you achieved something, and how that outcome is actually going to help me. Okay. So achievements and how you articulate the outcome of those achievements is what's going to interest me and what's going to make you different from everybody else. Okay. Now, the third thing is this we were going to talk about is the secret that hiring managers and recruiters, that makes hiring managers and recruiters want to headhunt you. And then you can negotiate a remuneration package that is good for you and good for them. Okay. Now, if you're somebody particularly who's been struggling to land a promotion, usually the issue is not your resume. And particularly if you're an internal applicant, the issue is that, and a lot of people will come to me thinking that they need to have their resume and the cover letter and key selection criteria written by me. But as an internal applicant in particular, usually you're selected because you're internal and it has not a lot to do with your documents. Okay. Usually they have to interview you. Okay. So it may be that your documents aren't that great anyway, but they have to interview you. The issue that most people have when they go from a lower level role to a higher level role is often in their personal branding. And when we're talking about personal branding, it's really about the reputation you hold, the expertise you hold, the thing that makes you unique to everybody else. Okay. Now, it's really important that when you are working on your personal brand, that you're doing things like networking and making sure you're on places like LinkedIn, or doing, making sure that you are being seen by others to be the expert in your field. Because when you're the expert in your field, you know what happens? People come to you. They come to you and ask you to apply for roles because they already know that you're a good fit for the job. Okay. Now, this isn't an overnight thing. This is something you have to work on over time. But it is proven to work. And in fact, just making small improvements in this area around your personal brand will actually be likely not just to land the role, but actually ask for what you want. Because if there really is nobody else that does what you do in the way that you do it, you can ask for more money because you can show them the difference, that organization, the difference between how they are now and how they're going to be when you get there. And if you can show them a return on their investment, then you're going to be the one that they're going to want to tap on the shoulder, and they'll give you the money that you want or the package that they can afford to give you. That is also something that you're happy with. Okay. Now, the fourth thing and the last thing about this training is how do you seal the deal by making a really great grand impression at the interview, okay, and reminding them that you're the best choice for the job, okay? Now, this, and I see a lot of people not do this, and that's preparing. And some people prepare, but they don't prepare in the right way. So you need to make sure you do your research, and it's not just research on them, but even yourself. Know your application inside out. Know what you're going to say if you get asked certain questions. If you don't know or can't anticipate the questions you're going to be asked, you are not going to know how to answer them when you get there. You're not going to know how to prepare. And that might be that you need some interview coaching around that, because someone like myself goes through, I do all the research for you. I do the research for you. I make sure I'll ask all the questions I can see that they would potentially ask you, and we go through the questions and answers together so that you actually have a response for everything. And I even have a formula for how, to answer a question we haven't covered. Okay, there's actually a way to do it so that you never really get stuck on a question. Okay, so it's really super important that you're prepared. If you don't know how to prepare or research, get help, because you don't want to make all the effort and get all the way to the interview and then not land the job. I've had clients who have only organized a resume, cover letter, and key selection criteria, and I've asked them, do you want some interview coaching? They've said no, which is fine because they believe that they can get the role. But the thing is, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Okay, you might think you interview well, but then, you've put all that effort and money into getting great documents and then not getting the role. It is really disappointing. So don't make that mistake. Okay. Now, all this is possible for you too. You can achieve this too. You can have great documents. You can have great, LinkedIn profiles. You can network really well. You can have a great personal brand. You can actually perform brilliantly at the interview and secure the role. You can do this too. Okay. But you need to know how to do it. Now, obviously we can't, fix all that right now because this is just a short training, although it's getting a bit longer. But, why listen to someone like me? As I said before, I've landed all my permanent roles. I've worked in government for over 13 years. So I actually know about the process and the way that it works. And I do understand the politics of the public service as well. So whether people are moving in or moving out of the public service, that's why people choose to work with me, because I specialise in this sector. Okay, I've been on selection panels. So I actually know what they want and what they're looking for. And I know how to ask those questions, and knowing those questions means I know how to prepare with you. Okay, I've got recruitment experience. In most of my roles, I was entrusted to do the hiring and the firing. Okay, so I know what organizations want and also know what they don't want. Okay, I also have qualifications in human resources and business management. Okay, so I know from a business point of view what they're looking for, but I also know from a human resources perspective what's expected as well. I'm also part of the Australian Human Resources Institute and also the Career Directors International, which is a resume writing organisation. So I get a lot of my current information from those organisations. So I'll make sure I stay up to date. Okay. Now, as I said, there's a lot more to this. Okay. And I really, it's not just these few points that I've talked to you about. The job application process is much longer and there's a lot more to teach. Okay. And I'd love to help you get unstuck and figure out, how to be a stellar candidate and land that, 100K plus role that you really love too. Now, what I want to show you is what you probably and most likely need. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again and hopefully I can get to the right slide. Now, what do you really need? Okay, as part of this process, you need three main things. What you need is, clarity. So you need to be clear about your brand. What do you stand for? What are you good at? What are you an expert at? Are you clear about the roles that you're going to apply for? There's no point in applying for 2 or 3 different types of roles. If you're not clear about what you want, you can't be an expert and you can't build a personal brand on 3 or 4 different things. It's easier to do that, when you're very clear about that thing that you do and that you're good at and that everyone knows that about you. Okay, you need to be clear in your messaging so that it converts. Everyone, when people look at your documents, are you clear? Are you succinct about what it is that you do and the outcomes you actually provide? You don't want to be wasting your time writing numerous job applications because key selection criteria are painful. And if you have to write them several times or tweak them several times, it is time wasting. So get clear on what you want in terms of the job, the role, and get clear in your message, okay? And you really need to know how to say that you are brilliant at what you do, and you really need to clearly articulate that in your documents, okay? The second thing is confidence. Okay, you need to have confidence. Okay, when you've got some clarity around the jobs that you want and you're clear about, what you want to say in your documents, you start to get confidence because you know what you want. Okay, and when you prepare and research your documents, or you prepare and research for interview, you will be confident. You will be more confident than if you don't do those things. Okay, confidence also comes from changing your limiting beliefs. So in the case of my client, Laura, who thought that she was too young to be a manager, or some of my clients think they're too old, or some of my clients think they're too ethnic. When you use limiting beliefs, it really affects your confidence when you limit the way you think about yourself. So you need to change that. Okay, so you need to have confidence. If you're not confident and certain in yourself, you can't convince somebody else on the other side of that desk to hire you. Okay, you need to believe in yourself so they can believe in you. And the third thing is consistency. So you need consistency in your message. So you need to be clear about your message and confident, and you need to show that consistently. You need to show that consistently in your documents. Your documents need to be consistent. So your resume, your cover letter, your key selection criteria, your LinkedIn profile, they all need to be consistent. I can't tell you how many times I've received resumes that were fabulous, but then I got a cover letter full of mistakes. So I could see that someone had written the resume, but not the cover letter. Or then I go to their LinkedIn profile, and that's not consistent with what they're saying in their job application. And then again, when they come to the interview, they're nothing like what they said they were in their documents. So you need to be consistent. Okay, and that comes from doing everything at the same time and being clear and confident about everything that you're putting together. Okay. Everyone's career plan is different, but as long as you follow a consistent path, you are likely to create certainty of the recruiter or hiring manager on the other side of that interview. Okay. Now, so what do you need? So what do you need after this? Okay. Now I want to introduce to you my one-on-one 4-week or 8-week coaching program. It's a one-on-one program, and I call it my Get Noticed, Get Hired Career Accelerator. Now, this is a combination of one-on-one coaching with me, done for you documents. So you get your resume, your cover letter, and your LinkedIn profile done for you. Okay. And also some coaching through me personally, through my online program. So you also have access to my online program in relation to those topics, depending on which program you end up in. Now, this program really shows you how to transform your confidence so that you can land a 6-figure role that you want. It also helps you articulate your experience and achievements in your job application in a way that you're proud to share. Okay, and you're confident to share. Okay, and it helps you to present as the best candidate at the interview and land the job as well. Okay, now this program is ready and waiting for you. There's a lot of hands-on support from me. We do this together. Okay, it's not me leaving you to do it on your own. I do coaching with you. I also write your documents with you. Okay, and we do the interview coaching together. Okay. But you get access to those online modules so that for the 3 months, so that you can, use that after the end of the program, because if you are job seeking, you may take more than a couple of weeks to land your next role. Okay. Now, what's included in my programs, depending on whether you go for 4 weeks or 8 weeks, will obviously be 4 weeks or 8 weeks of coaching. So you get 50-minute coaching sessions with me. Which includes, your resume or your CV consult. You can use the other sessions for career guidance, interview coaching, or help with your LinkedIn profile and get some training around how to actually use it to get headhunted. It's not an online resume as most people use it as. And I know a lot of public servants in particular do not use LinkedIn at all. And it's really a missed opportunity. Okay. In that time, in between those career coaching weekly coaching sessions, you have access to me like a back pocket mentor. So you get access to me via Voxer, which is like a messaging app. So in between our sessions, if you've got questions to ask or you're trying to work out whether you should apply for a particular role, you can send me a message to ask me any questions you need in between those sessions. As I said before, this is also a done for you program. So you will get tailored, done for you resume, cover letter, and also a LinkedIn profile that will be tailored to your expertise, okay, in one industry or job type. Okay. And as I said, I will also write your LinkedIn profile, which will be the headline and the summary, so that it attracts attention and so that it's actually consistent with your resume, your cover letter, and your key selection criteria. Okay. And as I said, you get 3-month access to my online coaching program around your resume, cover letter, interview coaching, and LinkedIn. And that will include things like videos, video instructions, how to tweak your resume for another role, templates, checklists, workbooks, and even my power words list. So you can follow that F pattern I was talking about earlier. Okay. So you will learn to, do things like write a cover letter yourself, so that next time you'll be learning a life skill. You'll be working with me to write your documents, but we'll be learning how to do them in the online program as well, should you choose to use it. Now, what's it like to work with me? Well, this is Sophia. Sophia was an absolutely beautiful client, and she was looking for a role in a specific industry, in a specific company. So she was very narrow about where she wanted to work and what job she wanted to do. She even knew the exact job she wanted to go for. So that was really a narrow, it was really, very specific. And at the time, she, going through COVID last year, unfortunately, her father passed away. So there's a lot of things happening for her at this time, but she just needed the confidence to move forward and actually land the role that she wanted in the specific organisation she wanted to get it in. Now, Sophia this was a company that gets hundreds of applications. So she was shortlisted. I think there was about 50 or 60 people in her group interview, because she did a group interview. She did digital interview, so she even did a video interview. She did one-on-one interview, and then some other one-on-one. I think she did psychometric testing. She did everything. Like, it was incredible. And within not even a month, I think, of working with me and trying to land this very specific role in this very specific company, she landed the role. So she bypassed all these hundreds of people that applied for this role, and she landed it because of the confidence she had through working with me, holding her hand, creating the documents that she needed to make her stand out in front of all those applicants. Okay. And then we did interview coaching to make sure she landed that job when she got to the interview stage. Okay. And to me, it makes my day when somebody says to me, that, I was the one that helped them with that confidence, because that lights me up. So she got the job, and she actually got the job at the end of all of that coaching with me. So are you ready to get noticed and get hired in a 100K plus role and be like one of my clients who's worked with me closely and, landed a role perhaps within weeks, perhaps within months, but they certainly all have landed a role. All my coaching clients have landed a role after working with me in this capacity, okay? Now, if you would like to talk to me about my 4-week or 8-week program, I would love you to book a chat with me to see if this is the right fit for you. If you are ready to actually do something about this for next year and make 2022 your best year yet and actually earn what you deserve and work somewhere where you can make a difference and work in a leadership role somewhere, you know, in the public service, then I'd absolutely love to chat with you about how I can help you with this. You book a chat with me. What we usually do is I go through your personal roadmap because everybody's situation is a bit different. So I tailor the program specifically to you. So if you need specific help in a particular area, then I'll tailor the coaching program for you. And I will go through that with you and provide you with your own personal roadmap, and then provide you with you know, a couple of options, or maybe one option of, you know, how we can work together and how we can actually get this happening for you too. Okay, because it is absolutely possible. Okay, now, if you're ready to have your phone ring every time you know, when you see your dream role and apply for it, you know, if you're ready for recruiters and hiring managers to start headhunting you, or, you know, having your boss tap you on the shoulder and say, I think this role would be great for you, apply for it. Okay, only certain types of people get that. Okay, are you ready for the influx of jobs that are actually going to come through in January? I mean, I've already had a look this week, and there's over 10,000 roles available in the public service, just in the state and federal government. This isn't even including not-for-profits or local government at all. And at least 3,000 of those roles are over $100,000. Okay, so if you're an expert in your field, you should be able to command that sort of money with ease. Okay. And it's absolutely possible for you. Okay. And these roles will be, you know, they're advertised now, but they'll also be advertised, you know, come, you know, after New Year's. And you don't want to be in a situation where you see your ideal role and you realize, I haven't got enough time to actually research and prepare. And this is where people fail. They don't do the work beforehand. And what happens, they see their role, they rush to do the application, and then they don't get an interview. Or if they do get an interview, they don't land the role because they just haven't got time to prepare. So having all this background work done before, you will be in a position as soon as you see that right role, or maybe you will see that right role while we're coaching, and have the benefit of me doing that with you there and then. Okay. So when the live streams finish, I will actually pop the link for booking in a chat with me. You can do that through my website on the contact page. If you're someone that only wants, you know what you want, you don't need any coaching, and you just want your documents written for you, done for you, they are available on my website under the services tab. Otherwise, if you like to coach with me and actually get some confidence and clarity and consistency in your job application strategy and process, then book in a chat with me, and let's make 2022 your best year yet. Let's get you that promotion. Let's get you to that next level role where you can earn over $100,000 and change your life and change the life of others. Okay. Now, that's all I have for you today. I can't tell, unfortunately, if there are any questions, but I will, after this live stream is finished, I will have a look at the comments. And if there are any comments or questions, I will respond to them in the Facebook group, because there are 2 Facebook groups I'm live streaming in at the moment. So I can't see both of them at the same time, unfortunately. But feel free to contact me if you've got any questions around the program or anything like that. You're more than welcome to email me at athena@thegetnoticecoach.com. And I think that's the end of my live stream. As I said, book in that chat with me because you want to be ready and you want to have the results that other people are getting working with me. I hope the information I've provided you with has been useful. I'm sure I will probably get a chance to say Merry Christmas, but in the event that I don't, or you don't see it, in your news feed, Merry Christmas. Have a great New Year. Happy holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the live feed, and thanks so much for being here and listening. Yeah, that's it.